You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, national insurance columnist and financial color commentator. And all this week, we're doing our series on building your business and protecting your practice. And today, we're talking about protecting yourself from litigation with attorney David F. Sterling.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting live to a nationwide audience of financial professionals right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And day 5 with licensed attorney and consultant David F. Sterling. Welcome to the show again, David.
It's been fun. I'm not sure if it's a business zone or the twilight zone.
Or the litigation zone. I don't know. We'll find out. We're doing this whole week, we're trying to go to different levels of professionalism, not only to protect our practice, but to promote good ownership experience with the customer or client. That's our goal. We really want them to experience all the expectations that we mapped out in our rules of engagement, right? And that we want to be able to have them voice their own goals, their own ideas. I'm picking up on it, right? And as I always say, transferring the onus from the host to the guest. I love that part. Now let's get into it today because we have a huge example. Everybody in our profession has heard about the Glenn Neeson case. I've written articles on it. The Producers Web and so many other industrial sites have written on this. I want to say up front, because I will be, I have an opportunity to interview Glenn after the appellate decision, so I want to be cool about what I want to say here, but I want to add one thing that's really important, and I really believe that I can say with at least my heart, and this is just your host talking, I do not believe that Glenn deserves at all to do any time. Now, whether there were issues and problems, I've noticed this new phrase, I love it. David kind of got me going down this road. Was it really malpractice or was it malfunction? See, because I think that's a very good question to ask. I wonder sometimes when you get into this issue of what's the intent, right, too. But before we get too deep into the Glenn case, I love your thing, what happens when good intentions go bad?
Yeah,
I mean,
the Glenn, I got to relate just for a moment on the Glenn Neeson, because I want to put it into the category of very low probability event, real high impact.
Right.
And it can be a defining takeout moment. So what you want to pull from this is what we can learn from it. Mm-hmm. Because as I said before, and I think it warrants repeating, when I attend the kind of program I did, sponsored by a state attorney general's office by invitation, and it's basically saying, it was like a how-to toolkit. Mm-hmm. And we covered all the various statutes. So I don't want to get too tangled up on the legal gobbledygook, but I truly believe that when you look at the work that the producer, which I will forever from this point forward label practitioner. Mm-hmm. That's my own vocabulary choice. But when I look at the work of the practitioner, the intent is there to do well by the client. I'm saying that that's the assumption that I think can be very comfortably made. Now, all the things that go around that intent, so when good intentions go bad, I will also say, on the other hand, that I have more quivers to play with to take out the best well-meaning agent out there working with clients.
I just find that so scary. I just don't get that. We're in a very fearful environment now.
And I'm not just talking about litigation elements, the regulatory elements, the complaint elements, and I think that's why taking charge, not only of how we work with clients, but also in our relationship with the client, but taking charge of what our industry is going to be about from this day forward can go a long way to mitigating, to protecting us against that nonsense. The other thing about a good structured defense against what I call unintended adverse consequences that are foreseeable. What I think is it can put you on offense, because a lot of the simplistic practices, and I know we're going to work on this together, those simplistic practices that represent that protective shield as best you can also will have great appeal to the client and how you conduct yourself in the client relationship. I also see it as a good business development opportunity.
You know, when I'm thinking about how this could have helped, I mean, because again, we're using Glenn as the example case, and hopefully we'll all learn from it. I'm wondering what our obligation, because now I'm looking and saying, well, now every time I walk into a room with a person that's 70 and over, am I going to be sitting there having to, do I need to be qualified? I mean, back in the day, we were called field underwriters, right? We're supposed to be helpful in underwriting. Now, am I supposed to be able to pick off dementia, Alzheimer's? They give us little clocks to draw on the application. I mean, what is our obligation? I'm not a physician. I'm just a person with a product sale here. How much do I have? What's my obligation here?
Okay, and I'm going to try to give a simple response to that, to a very complicated question. But what I am fearful of is that, and I don't mean, this is not meant as negative commentary maybe to other professionals in our arena that are ready to deliver to agents in the field all of these recommended strategies. For example, videotaping, the relationship process.
The interview,
I am not negative on videotaping. What I am suggesting is that there is a lot that goes into that videotaping process that can be misconstrued, misinterpreted, and what I'm saying, at least if the instinct is there that I want to go down that path, let's help the agents understand how to do it. I am really getting miffed when I hear, you should videotape. Great. How do I do that?
Right. When I think about everything that's happening in the Glenn's case and dealing with geriatrics, and I mean, this is where everybody's going. Everybody's talking about this. How do we do it? What's our obligation? And what part do I need to know to test it out? I mean, I'm at the point now where maybe I'm having beneficiaries show up for every single, engagement that we have with anybody over 70. When we come back after this, we're going to talk more about that. And now David tells me maybe my E&O policy is not even good. We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Companies in our business are always touting service, products, and underwriting. And we do that too. But here's the difference. Now enter the world of the elite producer with a value package that cuts us out of the pack. A BD that approves social media marketing of non-FINRA products and doesn't take an override. With the best competition desk in the industry, and for our loyal producers, a true group health plan. No one offers that. Brokers Alliance does. Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I am your host, Steve Savant, and we're talking with David F. Sterling about geriatric business. I mean, here's my problem. I mean, think about this. Our maturity dates of some of these contracts on the life side are already at age 90. We're issuing policies to age 90? Yes, we are. We're looking at annuities now. Some of them, 85, 90. I mean, we're pushing the boundary, and we're dealing with people, the octarians.
You know, it's interesting about that.
What do I do with that?
Are we pushing the boundary, or are the state regulatory authorities saying that product, with that feature, with that definition, is okay?
I don't know. I think they are putting the guardrails up and saying this is the rules of engagement from a regulatory point of view. I mean, I totally see that.
And of course, you see the fact that they're also sanctioning the products
Right.
that have those.
I keep waiting for them saying, if it was so bad, why are they allowing the carriers to file it in the state in the first place? I mean, think about that. They're filing.
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
And look at the age. It's age 90. Now, either it does or it doesn't work. If you think it's wrong, change the legislation.
Can't have it both ways.
Can't have it both ways. Now, but I do want to say this. We're an aging population. There's no doubt about that.
Oh.
We're seeing the mortality revolution is just taken off. How can I do the best possible? Well, I don't want to use the word best. How can I endeavor?
Thank you.
Hey, I'm a learner. How can I endeavor to really help my client, especially when we cross over age 70, which seems to be the new demarcation line?
Okay, and I'm going to try to go through some real quick specifics here because I know we're coming down to the end. And manner of speaking, the one is, remember the reference to the governance documents that are already in place, that already have assigned roles that were identified by the client with the attorney. These are the people now that you have an immediate opportunity to access, but not access in a crisis mode. to access those folks before the crisis hits and make them ready. Of course, with the client's willingness and approval. There are ways to deal with that in a certain way, but that's not for this show. That's a great business opportunity. They become your clients. The other element to it is as well, I hate to relate back to common sense, but you know, and if there's one element about the Nishun case that resonated with me is, but there just seemed to be a lot of red flags going on here with this situation. Well, it's the same thing with individuals' clients. Are there steps that can be taken when that warning bell is going, your gut instincts are saying, you know, I'm just not so sure this client is all there. That doesn't mean you can't do business. It means step back, and you know, I'll be quite candid. Here's where your kind of firm can provide a very meaningful, and I mean hugely meaningful, resource to the client on how to engage that situation in a way that doesn't permit the agent to overstep boundary lines, but gives some good, sound guidance. I may take it as simple. I'll just give you one simple example. A lot of elder law attorneys, I am a member of the elder law section of the Florida Bar, but a lot of elder law attorneys are very friendly to the financial product arena. This may not be a bad idea, and there are rules of engagement with the attorney, and I know it's beyond the show, but there are ways of engaging the attorney in such a manner they will not kill the deal, nor will they kill what you're trying to do for the client. In fact, you will probably ring the ka-ching bell for that attorney.
Well, see, I'm trying to think about a regular producer, or practitioner. I'm trying to change my language. Practitioner who says, okay, you know, I'm just wanting to sell an annuity here. Do I need to bring in an attorney? I just want to sell the annuity.
No, and interesting enough, I didn't suggest that. So as the backup, remember, I may have my lines of preferences, but that doesn't mean my lower level preference is not completely suitable and compliant. So getting to that point, again, it does fall back. What does the client already have in place that I can tap into? And it's there.
So he may have other relationships, and that's a good way to pull them in.
Well, and that's right. And they're listed in the documents. There's nothing wrong for an agent to say, by the way, you know, while we have this dialogue, might you have that power of attorney? Might you have those legal documents? Who are the folks? I haven't even asked to look at it. Who are the folks that you've appointed in there to take on important roles? Talk a little bit about the relationship with those folks that they already have named to play that important role. It is a great discussion point. And you know, yes, there are family situations where the chemistry isn't great. Well, they'll let you know that. Don't be afraid to go there. You go there only enhances your role as a professional, and I can tell you down the road, you know, following that strategy in certain defined ways could be a very great protective device.
Well, before I let you out of here, David, for this week, and we thank you so much for being on our show, I'm thinking about my E&O policy right now, and now I'm hearing rumors that sometimes that policy may not be as protective, my practice, as I thought it was.
And I'm going to cut right to the chase on that. Just like the financial products, that E&O policy is a contract. Read it. Use your common sense. I honestly going to say, after this show, I might just pull that policy up and read through it. And just using common sense as you read through it. What are areas that make me nervous? I'm not sure why they make me nervous, but what am I reading here that tells me, you know what? I've got cause for concern, not sure what it is. I did this with the legal community. I did a bar presentation. I brought this exact point up. What about attorneys who are going out too far in the kind of advice they're given? And we're dealing with attorneys, you know, becoming annuity experts and life insurance experts and long-term care experts. And yes, I got my rip slack because I don't think they have any business doing that. Sorry, attorneys. But on the other hand, you know, when I brought up the fact that they may be giving advice that is going to be excluded from the policy, they were amazed. I put it right up on the screen and said, there's your exclusionary language for doing what you thought was just a simple exercise. Well, simple exercise, read it.
When I think about it, you know, my E&O policy, I just hope it works. I've been paying premiums for 30 years. That's what we have on the zone. Get in the zone, the business insurance zone.
The Biz is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, a national leader in insurance products, support services, and educational workshops. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.